Hello there, lovers and friends. Welcome to the podcast, appropriately titled Hello There, Lovers and Friends. And today I'm with lovers and friends. Yay. What's up? It's Keandra is here. Yes, Courtney is here. Deshawn is here. Hi. I have your official intros I'm going to read in a second. But first, can we break down why we're here in the first place? Hello There, Lovers and Friends is a podcast that is designed to speak to the inner relationship and intimacy expert in you, whether it's your sexual relationships, your friendships, or your romantic relationships. I want you to feel empowered to make the right decisions for yourself because you are armed with the tools that help you to do so. Kind of like how the iPhone made everybody a photographer. That's what I'm aiming for with this podcast. Yeah. And in order to accomplish that, it's about bringing unique perspectives and trained perspectives and voices. So you guys are here because I believe you are an authority on this topic, and I respect you and I adore you. I am joined by Keandra Jackson, a licensed marriage and family therapist. Can I get a ooh? She has been seen on the Emmy Award-winning show, The Doctors. She has been recently featured in the New York Times, Vice, Bustle, and the Huffington Post as one of the 10 Black female therapists that you should know. She's also a 3-time author, shitting on my 2-time author. Okay.
It's not a competition.
And she's an international speaker. Welcome, Keandra.
Yay. Thank you.
I'm also joined by Courtney, who is hypnotically free-spirited with an intoxicating charm.
Yes.
Also a property manager, also a masseuse.
Yes.
Also one of the 6 women in the Game of Desire.
Absolutely.
Hello, Courtney.
Hey.
And on the far end of the couch is Deshawn, an environmental hot girl solving the California water crisis one drip at a time.
Yes, one drip.
Yeah.
Drip.
Deshawn is again one of 6 women who are featured in the Game of Desire, and it's so special for the 2 of you to be here and for you to be here as well too. So today's episode, we are going to talk about Black women being undesired in the dating world. And this is not an opinion. This is based on facts and studies that were done. For example, OkCupid did a review of who were the least swiped upon amongst the different genders, and data showed that most men in the site rated Black women as less attractive than women of other races and ethnicities. Of course, on the flip side of the coin, it's Asian men who were rated less attractive than other races and ethnicities in the male category. In addition, according to the 2018 Motherly State of Motherhood survey, Black mothers are 4 times more likely to be single and serve as the primary breadwinners of their home. So in short, what is it like to date as a Black woman?
Interesting, fun, and difficult. It's actually really difficult. I recently swiped on someone and he was like, "Oh, you look a lot like my ex-girlfriend." And I was like, "Okay." And I'm looking at his picture. I'm like, "Okay, you're white." He's like, "Are you down with the swirl?" I was like, honestly, if I swiped.
Right. Yes. That is an indication.
That's an indication. Mm-hmm. Then the next question I got was, "Do you wear a weave?" And I'm like, is this happening still right now where Beyonce's wearing weaves, where all your celebrities are wearing weaves, all ethnicities are changing?
And first of all, most of us have moved on to wigs.
That's what I said. And
let us be very clear.
Weaves, not so much, but braids, crochets, and wigs. And like that. But I just find it so interesting that that's still like a question that's stereotypically put on us. Like, is that your hair? Mm-hmm. Like, why is that a thing? And I'm like, there's so many ways you have to try to answer that or disarm it or like reroute that question to like get the ball back in your court and be like, okay, this is where we're going with the conversation. We're not going here.
So do you feel like even though there's a yes that happened because you guys both swiped right and so there's the yes that happens, mm-hmm. they're still treating you like a maybe?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Because the other comment that I got when I actually did go on a date, which turned out to be all right, was, "You're actually more kinder than I thought you would be," or you're actually more intelligent than I thought, even though you didn't go to college. And I was like,
wait, huh?
Is that a compliment or is that a backhanded compliment? And that's like what like is happening during a first impression is you're having to almost check yourself too and saying, did this person really just say this to me? And then still try to get to know this person and see if they are a possible mate.
I will say for me, it's more on the difficult side because I feel like I do get a lot of matches, but then it's just like it never like propels to the next step, and it's just difficult to get those dates in general. And so that's like definitely been my area of struggle here, at least in the Los Angeles area. I will say that like when I was living in Georgia for school, it was a lot easier, just because it's more Black people populated in one city. But yeah, it's just getting to that date to even try and see if you have built a connection or see if you, want to pursue a relationship, because I can't get a first date, let alone the second one. And that is extremely frustrating.
Yeah. I think, first of all, that statistics makes me really sad. Like, and I almost took it personal. I'm like, excuse me?
How could you not? You should.
Absolutely.
But I take into consideration what the narrative everyone else has and use that to my advantage. So be it if you think that we're less desirable, I want you to think that. Or if it's like, oh no, you are desirable, I want you to think that. I want to have the upper hand because I'm going to counter and like obliterate what you think. That's my whole mission. It's like, even if it's saying, oh, you're not desirable, I can play into that. No. I want you to think I'm less than you, because I'm going to show you better than I can tell you.
But I want to know. Like,
Really?
maybe I just love stats and just information like that, but I need to know, like, what's going on out here in these streets. But partially for the same reason that you do, because it's like, I'm about to freaking obliterate your whole life.
I feel like
It just go beyond, you know?
As a Black woman, I just feel like I'm constantly underestimated.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again, and it has definitely worked to my advantage in that method. Whether that's in school, whether that's with men, whether that's with conversation, I'm constantly underestimated. So yeah.
Do you experience direct racism in the dating world? Have you? I know, Courtney, you've had experiences before that I could quote for you, but I'll let you talk for yourself. But have you experienced that from people before, wherein that it's not even implied that perhaps it's because I'm a Black woman, I'm experiencing this, or I'm not getting the response I want? They've literally said something to make that clear.
I dated someone that I was going natural, wearing my hair in a natural state, and I was getting ready. We were getting ready to go to something harmless like the movies, where it's dark. Doesn't matter what my hair looks like. We're going here for a movie. And he literally said, well, can you put your white girl hair on? Referring to a weave or a wig. And I was like, no, this is what I like. And like to hear someone that I was kind of dating in a relationship with say these things, that you're trying to force a standard upon me and not accepting me for who I am, was very self-deprecating.
Yeah.
It made me think twice about what my worth was, because my hair was in a certain way, or I was loud as a Black woman. And I'm like, this is who I am. And it sucks, because it's like, you're not only being rejected by the outside people, but when you do date people who get closer, they do slide those little notions in there in those comments of like, are you sure you like this about yourself? Like, oh, I wish you were lighter skinned, or I wish you had.
Have you had someone literally say that to you before?
Like that I was lighter toned? Yes.
Yeah. Like verbatim, somebody has
I wish
said.
it's like, wow, you would probably look a little bit better lighter toned. I probably would.
What's nuts is because your complexion is it's an each most striking feature.
Perfect.
It's like,
thank you.
Utterly amazing.
Thank you.
Deshawn, have you ever experienced overt racism before in dating?
I will say not particularly over, or not anything similar to what Courtney has experienced. I think my thing is more so calling out some sort of perceived proximity to whiteness, because a lot of people look at me and the first question, this even happened to me yesterday. I was at a bar and a guy was like, so what are you mixed with? And I was like, we've been communicating this whole time. I was like, I'm not mixed with anything. Mom's Black, dad's Black. That's it. Like, that's all I've got for you. It's like Mississippi and West Virginia in American history. Like, that's it. But it's not the first time that I've heard that or anything. And I'm just like, so is that what attracts you to me? Is that like perceived proximity, or are you just really into me as the successful Black woman that I am?
And I think what we tend to do is to maybe not even overcompensate, but we try to explain ourselves and why we do want to wear our hair natural and we're not mixed. And we go through that whole process as a Black woman, and then we may come off as aggressive or, all those negative stereotypes that people label us as. And then it's like, that wasn't even our intention. We just want to live in our authentic self. And why isn't that enough?
Absolutely.
And so for you, never having had someone said that, how do you know that it impacts your relationships?
That's a good question. I think for me, it wouldn't necessarily be. I think that this is what's stopping me in my tracks, because I literally just had a conversation with two successful Black men, and one of them literally told me that they only prefer to date white women, and this was at a bar with other Black women that I met, and we were all having a conversation, and it really struck me. Because of the reasoning, it was very stupid. I can wake up with oral sex from them and you guys don't do that. And I'm like, that's your reasoning?
Did you speak to the Black woman president who gave you a list of the do's and do nots and was like, look, if you want to enter the club, where did he collect this? Where's this census coming from?
I have no clue, but I was like, okay, that's your narrative. That's very interesting.
I've heard the same thing from I have a younger cousin, and his whole thing is that he likes white women for the same reasons. And I'm just like, but why? Like, how is that changing anything? Like, why do you have this perception? And it's something that I don't understand. And him being so young, because I'm only 26, so him being like younger than 24 is just like, well, where'd you get this from?
When did you come to a space where you gave yourself permission to be beautiful or to be seen as beautiful? And did you have to make that decision? Was that, I guess, back to that marketing, was that choice that you are beautiful, that you are desired, made for you, or did you have to make it for yourself?
So I say that idea for me came from when I went to Spelman. So being surrounded by beautiful Black women who were successful, who were doing everything, just being so amazing. So obviously Spelman being a historically Black college has that marketing there.
Yes.
That's what they're promoting. That's what they're trying to get. They're trying to get the women who matriculate there to have that confidence, to see themselves
First
a
of
way
all,
that
words, matriculate. Thank you for that. Go ahead.
Who just see themselves and follow kind of in the footsteps of the women who came before. But it wasn't until I was surrounded by beautiful Black women who were working for Goldman Sachs and me working for NASA and my friends, like all of us having these like really amazing jobs and being in these amazing places all together, and then studying, because I was a math major, so seeing only Black faces, Black women faces, and then we would all get dressed and go to the club and being like, yes. It wasn't there, growing up. So I know it took until 18, 19, 20 to like really get into that mindset of you are beautiful. Because when I was in the predominantly white schools, I wasn't desirable. I wasn't, what all of my peers were looking for. They were looking for white women. They were looking for Latino women.
So when I went to high school and I was one of the only predominantly African-American women, it was a culture shock for me. That's where I learned so many different cultures, right? And I knew that I was unique then, because back then I wasn't about the natural hair. I was like, I need my straight hair. I need to blend in as much as possible.
Even before getting there.
Even before getting there, I knew that I needed to blend in.
This memory always sticks in my mind of like, I had a crush on the same person from senior kindergarten all the way up. Like, and
I'm
to
looking
a
for you to
point,
switch a little bit.
It was not, it was consistent. And to the point that like I knew where he lived. And to this day, I think if someone said my name to him, we've never had a conversation, because I never even acknowledged it's possible he could like me. And I remember there was this like list that came out of all the people that he liked, and all the girls were passing around like his list, like, oh, Devin's list. Shout out to Devin. Devin's list came out.
Devin wish he had that.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, can I see it? And this girl turns to me and she was like, why do you care? Not like you're ever going to be on it. And it was just that thing of like, why would I be on this list? And I accepted that as normal. And it wasn't until BET came out, which then my vision, the light-skinned girl, was constantly positioned as sexy, was constantly positioned as attractive, that I was able to start switching that narrative for myself. And in some ways that led to some damaging decisions because I only saw myself objectified. But in other ways, it also gave me permission out there in the world to walk around like I'm shiny. Like, look at me, I'm shiny. I could be on that list. So I'm curious for you guys, was there a moment for you where you had to be like, no, I'm on the list?
It was actually when I met with you, like just knowing and instilling that value. It's like, Court, you're great. And I'm like, she might be right. She might be right. Let me just take control basically and say, all right, I'm going to talk to whoever I decide, because I know my conversation's great. I know a lot about different topics. So it was having someone quiet that doubt that we all have and just say, no, you're fine, go do it. And the rewards are beneficial, because any room I walk into, I can be my goofy, loud, or quiet self, but you're going to love talking to me. You're going to love that experience with me. And I can do that with an 82-year-old war veteran, or I can do that with a 2-year-old toddler that's just trying to walk and crawl. It's a different type of power and control that you have, but you do have to take it.
Well, sometimes people don't even know that you have low self-esteem or you're doubting yourself if you just show up and show up in that energy anyway, right? Like, just think about, like, you stand in the line to get in at the club, right? You know your name ain't on the list, but you go up to the front and you be like, check the list. No, check it again.
Yes.
And then he'll be like, okay, well, go ahead. You and your friends, go ahead and come on in. You know what I mean? It's like, it's because you had enough guts to go up there and be like, sir, let me in this door. I deserve to be here. Everybody else in the line gonna be hating, but it don't matter.
But hot girls always walk up to the front of the line.
Always. And they have confidence to do it, right? It's the other ones that's like, oh, I don't know if we gonna get in, girl. Those are the ones that never get in.
But you know what? It be them ugly girls you do sometimes see come to the front of the line and get in. Like, wait a minute now, if she look like that, how did that confidence? That confidence that works.
Confidence got her.
You're like,
in
no,
there.
wait a minute, how did she get in and I did? That's what self-esteem looks like. Someone else.
I don't think we even recognize the fact that our expectations, our internal expectations, are so easily read out loud. And so if you don't expect, and that's why I say to people, like, the physical appearance, there was a study, right, where this girl didn't get a mirror. She wasn't allowed to look at herself for 2 days. And for one day she went out and they're like, you're not wearing any makeup, your hair's not done, just go out there into the world. And then the next day they had a makeup artist that did her makeup, but there was actually no makeup. She was just brushing nothing on her skin. And they asked her about the differences in her experiences. She's like, the next day I was treated better. People were kinder to me. And it wasn't. It was just her expectation to be. She expected to be treated better. She expected to be liked. She expected to be looked at. So she treated herself as such. And so that also, I think, has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Agreed.
And then that's what I was going to say. I was going to say the inner narrative, because we're already expecting different races to be like, nah, I'm cool on her, but that's not the truth. But I do want to acknowledge that there are truly a whole group of people, Black men and women, who are just all about that Black love.
Absolutely.
And that's just all, and that's just it. They like, I want blackity black babies, and that's just the way it's gonna be.
Absolutely.
And that's fine too, right? We're not saying that that's not okay, but we have to be aware of all aspects of it.
Absolutely. I'm like, look, I'm just saying, French fries can be fried a different way.
Yes.
French fries gonna be a
and
French
seasoned
fry.
a different way.
And seasoned a different way.
There was this study by PEW Research Center that said that newlywed Black men are twice as likely as newlywed Black women to be intermarried. So if does that make sense to you guys, that stat?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So here's the question, I guess. In order to shift the narrative, do we have to shift that stat? Or is that not a question that we should even have? Because Black women should just want who they want.
Yeah, that's my deal. Just want who you want. Like, I don't care if they Black, brown, or in between. Like, just live your best life. And the whole goal is to find your person. Period, right? The person that vibes with you, person that connects with you, who understands you, who's willing to rock with you, and your foolery that comes attached to it. Like,
and your bonnet.
your bonnet. Listen, the twist out that got to happen, the little Felicia twist. Listen, all of that. You know what I mean? And if that person is not Black, so be it. Like, the goal is happiness.
But are Black women stopping themselves from achieving the goal? Are we preventing ourselves from achieving the goal by limiting the ways that we can win?
So I will say, based off of my experience on dating apps, is that I swipe on everybody. And what I find is I'll match with a select amount of people outside of my race.
Swipe on everyone like you do, just like, let's go.
No, I swipe on the people that I find attractive.
Okay.
Or that like I read their
That is a
bio.
method. That is a method.
Hold on.
Yeah, no, not any and everybody. Come on, we've gone through this
Yes,
process.
I was like, come on.
Work with me. we've gone through this process. So yes, I go through the bio, I go through the pictures, do they have a diverse set of pictures? Can I see everything? Yes. So, but I'm also not only swiping on Black men. What I'm finding is that, especially like on Bumble, where women have to reach out first, only Black people respond back to me.
What?
So I might match with people, but only Black men respond back to me. So that's who, and we already discussed how even if we respond back, getting that date further is even more difficult. So I'm just not in that pool of dating people outside of my race, because even in a situation like that where it's just it's not happening.
I feel that Black women are stifling themselves if you are only swiping on Black men. I know you're not, but I'm like, if you are out there only saying, oh, I only want Black love, then absolutely. But if you're really trying to find yourself or find that person that's going to be there for you or be compatible with, you are highly limiting yourself. Because even, who's not to say, if you're swiping on all these ethnicities and you do swipe on a Black person, you have a great conversation, then so be it. But what if that person's an Indian person? Or what if that person's Pacific Islander? It doesn't matter. The compatibility has nothing to do with the shell that's on our bodies. That's nothing. So I love when Asian guys, and that's what's crazy. You said the stat of it's low Asian men.
She like,
Well,
baby, not over here.
This is Issa Rae's thing. Issa Rae got in trouble for saying that Black
No.
women and Asian men should get together.
Let me tell you, the best self-discovery I've had in myself, and even conversations and activities, have all been with Asian men. It kind of blew my mind. I'm like, wait a minute. We are an ethnicity that both works hard. We're both very smart. We also know what it feels like to be at the bottom of the totem pole and not be desired. There's a commonality between all of that. Do you understand that's like breeding for superpowers? Mm-hmm. It literally is. If we go based on stereotypes only, Asians are the smart ones and Black people are the athletic ones. I'm sorry, don't you want a smart athletic baby?
Well, and that
Or
Black
something?
women are the most educated group in America.
The most.
Yep.
The most.
So what y'all waiting out on? Why y'all sitting there looking dumb? Why? Get with the smart woman who's beautiful. Y'all are sitting there looking dumb. But it's I don't know why. I went on a date with a Russian guy and I'm like, this is interesting. And you do find similarities in people who don't look like you.
Mm-hmm. The goal of this podcast is to get people in a position of aptitude. It's not just listening and understanding. It's having a point, a jump off point to say, okay, well, here's how I'm going to make a change in my life. And so if you are a Black woman listening to this podcast right now or watching this video right now, and you are trying to get to a space where you give yourself permission to feel desired, to be desired, in a world that hasn't made that lane for you, that hasn't paved that way for you, what is the jump off point? What is the starter point?
I'm all about going deeper. So because I'm a therapist, I want to go back and explore all of the different scenarios and maybe even your upbringing where you felt like you were unwanted, right? Because I really do believe that a lot of the stuff that we experience come from our upbringing, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. Even with dating and how we do a relationship is what we saw or didn't see with our parents and all of that stuff. So I would take it all the way back and say, let's explore some of those times where you felt like you weren't wanted. What did that look like? Mm-hmm. And then more than likely, we're going to make a current connection with that.
I'll say circling back to identifying those things that make you awesome and repeating them to yourself. So if somebody was like, I feel like I'm not wanted, I'd just be like, well, do you want you? And what do you want about you? What is awesome? Think about those things that make you happy, your closest friends. What do they love about you? Mm-hmm. And if you're repeating those things to yourself and you're going out in public, you're like, yeah, I have something to offer. I have these things because this is what I love about myself. And this is what those who are closest to me love about me too.
If I had to do a call of action into what would be desirable, is it might be because I'm from the South and our Southern hospitality is always that charm. And I've kind of narrowed it down to just speaking. Mm-hmm. Literally people who are desired and who gravitate to people, or people who just say, hey, how are you? Good morning. we were trained growing up in the South, like, if you enter a room, you better speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I still have that. And so anyone who just, if you're in Starbucks or if you're anywhere, just, hey, how are you? Just that smile and speaking to someone like, oh, I like that, because it's different.
Yes.
So I'm always play to what the common people don't think about. And I'm like, it's simple. So if you're struggling, just speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Just say, hey, how are you? Oh, I like your shirt. Hey, those are nice shoes. Easy. And that's going to, people can't really be mean to you if you say something nice about them. If they are, then just run. But normally people would say, thank you, I appreciate that. And that's going to instill your confidence that you can speak up and be presented anywhere. Any country you go to, any state you go to. Doesn't matter. Just speak and say hello.
Once you start that inner work of the self-love and accepting all of who you are, right? And we talked about before we started therapy, right?
Yeah.
I gotta throw that in there. But making sure that you're in a space to say, you know what, I accept all of who I am. And that's the only way that I'm going to be able to attract someone who's going to accept all of who I am, because I'm in that right space. So I would tell that person to work on themselves, work on that self-love. And at least that's the first part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah, I would say identifying what you have to offer. So that just goes right along the same lines. What you have, and just like embracing that and telling that to yourself in your head as you're going out, and just giving yourself that extra boost of confidence, not relying on outside sources to give you that, but walking in a room and being like, yeah, I'm the shit. Okay, I'm here. All right, what can you bring me? What can you add, or what can we add to each other to make this work? Not being like, okay, what can I just give you, and what can just taking in what you have, using that as a confidence boost, and just getting out there.
So a girl said, I'm dark skinned and I don't feel sexy when I go out in public. I would tell her, do you understand people always love what's different? Mm-hmm. They want something that no one else can have. Yeah. That's why, for whatever reason, black ice cream, like charcoal ice cream, became popular, because everyone's like, it's the different. Like, we know all the other flavors. We know all the other shades. But look at this dark black one. Yeah, let's grab it. You will always be different. So you will always have an advantage.
I think what's important, and one of the things in the book that I really talk about, is the game of desire. It's that, like, count yourself into play. Count yourself in as a player. You belong here. You are desired. Everybody has a different starting point as well, too. And so I think with Black women, there's an acknowledgement that has to happen of, like, you have a right in this game. You are here to play, and you are a force. But at the same time, let's also acknowledge your start line's a little different, that your work is a little bit heavier than the average person. And that's shit, but that's just the reality of things. But working together, I think conversations like these are so empowering, and I can't even begin to say how all of you in each unique ways in my life have just truly impacted me. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you to everybody who's listened so far. And go get the book, because these two motherfuckers are in it, and they're badass as hell. And if you like this, you're going to love that.
Yes.
Keandra, where can we find out more about you? What are you working on right now?
Oh my goodness. So can I even say, tough stuff be top secret. I'm working on a new digital show. So stay connected with me on social media, because that's going to be dropping soon. So you can follow me on all things Keandra Jackson. That's KIAUNDRA. Or you can check out my website, KeandraJackson.com.